Welcome to the Seth Thibodeaux Show with Nicholls head baseball coach Seth Thibodeaux. Presented by State Farm Insurance. Contact your local State Farm agent today and get to a better state with State Farm Insurance.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Seth Thibodeaux Show presented by State Farm Insurance. I'm your host, Mike Wagenheim. Coming up on today's show, we'll bring you highlights from last weekend's series against Texas State. We'll get you caught up on the Southland Conference tournament picture and take you through 2 generations of Colonels baseball. That's all coming up. Right now, we're joined by the head coach of the Nicholls baseball team, Seth Thibodeaux. Welcome to the program as always.
Thanks, Mike.
Colonels had a shot against the Bobcats, wound up taking 1 out of 3. Now you're sitting on the outside looking in with 3 weekends to go in the regular season. We're off to San Antonio today. 3 games against the Roadrunners this weekend. It's there for the taking. You just got to reach out and grab it now.
We've got to go out and play our best baseball at the right time, which is May. And we played a great weekend of baseball. It didn't happen for us on Friday. We faced a really good arm, obviously a really good pitching staff. Played hard baseball on Saturday and were victorious on Sunday with a hard-fought win. So we're starting to play the way we feel like we can play and be successful and make a run at this thing.
No, the Colonels have made some changes as of late. We'll talk about that as we take a look at this past weekend here. Nicholls entered their last series against Texas State, looking to stay in the Southland Conference tournament picture. The Colonels were coming off a quality non-conference victory over South Alabama, in which the offense came alive for 11 runs on 15 hits. The Bobcats, defending league champs, were predicted to win the Southland again this year. While their bats have gone cold, their arms have been outstanding. They nearly set an NCAA record with 57 2/3 consecutive scoreless innings earlier this year. Now, while the Bobcats have gone 6-4 against ranked teams, they came to Thibodeaux last weekend, sitting in the middle of the standings. The opener on Friday night, and the Colonels would go with their horse, Seth Webster. He had gone 3 weeks without a quality start, but was solid in this one. He issued a leadoff walk in the first, but he gets Jeff McVaney swinging to retire the side. 1 of 7 Ks on the night for Webster. Nicholls going up against Travis Maloo, a hard-throwing righty with a plus slider, one of the best ERAs and strikeout totals in the league. Maloo didn't waste much time. He fans a pair in the first, getting Beau Faulk here. We're scoreless through 1. Top 2, a Colby Targan walk and stolen base precedes this 2-out hit by Brooks Orton. Targan scores. Mike Barba, though, able to throw out Orton at second base here to end the inning. It's 1-0 in favor of Texas State. While the Colonels registered a hit in each of the first 4 innings, Maloo would hold them off the board. Nicholls strands Jeremy Hill on third as Blake Bajeron strikes out in the 4th. Meanwhile, Webster started rolling, inducing the Nick Smelser flyout to end the 5th. That was the 9th of 10 straight Cats retired by Webster. Nicholls with a shot in the 6th. A pair of 2-out hits puts runners at second and third, but Maloo here getting Michael LaGrange to chase, and it's still 1-0. The Bobcats would come back and threaten in the 7th. A McVaney double and a sac bunt gets Webster and catcher Cody Dufran talking. The Colonels bring the infield in here, but Targan punches one through. Nicholls down 2. Webster did come back after this and struck out the next 2 Bobcats. After Nicholls goes down in order in the 7th and 8th, Texas State picks up some insurance here in the 9th. Andrew Stump doubling down the left field line with 2 outs in the inning. Casey Kalinkowski would come around to score. Webster goes 8 2/3. He allows 3 runs on 7 hits. It's good, just not good enough on Friday. Maloo goes the distance, his 3rd complete game and 2nd shutout. He ties a career high with 12 strikeouts. The 6-hitter gives Maloo and the Bobcats the opener by a 3-0 final. Coach, sometimes you just run into a buzzsaw, and that buzzsaw was Travis Maloo on Friday.
He was outstanding with the slider, fastball mix. I mean, the kid is incredible. And he's done it to a lot of teams this year. It's not just us. But I felt like we did have some good at-bats against him, and we did put ourselves in some situations. We had runners in scoring position a couple of times. We just didn't get that big hit. He was just too much for us.
Seth Webster has found out that he can walk a batter or 2 here and there and still have a quality performance. Do you think maybe he was trying to be too fine for a few weeks?
I think that he was trying to be just perfect every time, and he put the pressure that he feels is the pressure he puts on himself, and he's such a competitor that sometimes it doesn't go his way a little bit. But he was really good, and it was his old self, I felt like, on Friday night, and I'm looking forward to a good outing from him again this weekend.
Seth Webster still, even after 2 walks on Friday, is 6th in the nation in walks per 9 9 innings.
It's incredible, isn't it?
It really is. Nicholls looking to tie the series on Saturday afternoon. Another good pitching matchup. Patrick Shreve gets the assignment for the Colonels. He was coming off a no decision against Lamar. The Bobcats would counter with Colton Turner. And just like Travis Maloo, he's in the top 5 in the Southland in earned run average and strikeouts. No score, bottom 2, after LaGrange leads off with a double and tags up on Blake Bergeron's flyout. Austin Flores comes through with a sac fly to left. Nicholls grabbing the early advantage here. Texas State stranded 4 runners through the first 3 innings. In the 4th, at the bat here, Cody Dufresne on the pitch in the dirt, able to pick it out. And he cuts down Nick Smelser trying to move up on the pitch in the dirt. Still 1-0 Nicholls. It stays that way until the 5th. 2 hits and a sac bunt set up Garrett Matledge, reaching down and putting the breaking ball in play. The ground out scores Brooks Orton, and the game is tied at 1. The next batter is Jeff McVaney. He tags the offering from Shreve into the left field corner. That 2-bagger plates Tyler Sibley, and Texas State up by a run here. Now Nicholls just couldn't get a man past first base for 3 innings straight. But here in the 6th, Jeremy Hill at the bat, and he lines one right past Turner. Philip Lyons scores a tying run. Hill with 28 hits in 20 games since returning from injury. He's 5th in the league now in batting average. Up next, Beau Faulk. And Beau getting it done as well. He tags the double into the corner. Jeremy Hill motoring around the bases just as fast as his legs would take him. He would score. Nicholls takes their second lead of the ballgame. It's 3-2 after this standing 2-bagger from Beau Faulk. But the Bobcats would answer in the 7th. Shreve walks a leadoff man, Morgan Micken, after a stolen base. Sibley, the all-time hits king at Texas State, hits one off the knuckles, just out of the reach of Lyons. Micken comes home here. We're tied up. Sibley had 3 hits on the day. As Shreve strikes the next batter out, he went 6 1/3, allowing 3 runs on 8 hits. Donnie White gets a call out of the bullpen to try to carry the Colonels through. White fans McVaney before Casey Kalinkowski goes down on strikes. It's a 3-3 ball game at the stretch. Bottom 7, a Matt Richard double puts 2 runners in scoring position with 1 out, and Texas State makes a change. They go with Ross Gable out of the pen, facing Philip Lyons. Phil gets the job done. The opposite field single chases in Dufresne. Nicholls once again has the advantage. Lyons registered 3 of Nicholls' 9 hits. After Mike Barber reached on an error to load him up, Hill grounds a ball to first. Richard forced to come home, but the throw back to first is wide. Big play there. Lyons scores. Nicholls is up 5-3. But White comes back and walks the first 2 batters in the 8th after a sac bunt. Orton's bouncer to second against Brad DeLotte scores Cody Lovejoy to cut the Colonel lead to 1. And the next batter is Morgan Micken, and his line drive to first just eluding Beau Faulk. The double plates Colby Targan. The Colonels relinquish the lead for the 3rd time. The game is square at 3. Lewis Head puts Nicholls down in order in the 8th, and then disaster here in the 9th. Kalinkowski leads off against Jordan McCoy. Richard and Barba going after the gapper, and Richard's knee catches Barba on the head. It knocks him out cold. Kalinkowski winds up with a triple. Barba suffered a concussion. Really could have been much worse. He'll be out for a couple of weeks. Richard aggravated a back injury, but he would stay in the game. Just looks like a mass unit out there. After that mess, Isaac Nudie would make the most of his first at-bat of the weekend. The liner into right center plates Kalinkowski, giving Texas State a 4-3 advantage. After a ground out moves Nudie to third, Andrew Stump comes to the bat and lays down a clinical squeeze bunt. In comes Nudie from third base. Nicholls now down by 2. And Lewis Head on the mound was vicious. He retired all 6 he faced. Lyons rung up to end the game, and the Bobcats clinched the series, taking Saturday's contest 5-3. Coach, this one was tough to watch in a number of regards. The Colonels had 3 different leads, just couldn't keep it. And then on top of that, you lose your center fielder, Mike Barba. What's your thought after this one?
It was a tough pill to swallow, and it was definitely the ultimate challenge. You lose another player to an injury right there, and you start to scratch your head a little bit saying, you know, what are we going to do next? And but it was important for us to bounce back. And you know, when you get challenged like that, it says a lot about what you are when you respond to it. And things that we had our opportunities. That game should have been won by Nicholls, and our players were very down after that game because when we have a 5-3 lead, you know, that thing's got to be over. And we didn't. We let it happen. We let them come back. We let them tie it. We let them take the lead, and it was frustrating for us. But like I told our guys after the game, we're going to find out how tough we are tomorrow. It's going to be a tough day for us. We got a man down. You know, he's spending the night in the hospital tonight. We're short a couple of guys. We're going to see what we're made of, and the way they responded to that, it motivated me and made me feel like we've got a shot to make a run here now.
Of all the days in which you really need a victory to keep your season going,
right.
You're without your starting center fielder. Fortunately, David Zorn has done a nice job this year. Right. He got the start and left. On top of that, you're throwing a guy who hadn't started a weekend game all year in Mike Sook as he takes Mike Weiscarver's spot in the rotation. It wasn't the day where you really wanted to be fiddling with a whole lot, but it leaves you no choice.
Right, and that's, you know, sometimes when you put in those situations, you see the best come out. And I felt like we gelled and played as hard as we could. When we had guys in the lineup that were hurt, Matt Richard is who I'm speaking of. A guy could barely walk. He was actually having some stomach pains between innings. So it was just a gutsy day by our entire ball club, but you could feel it. And when we're successful, that's what we have to do to be successful, be gutsy. And you can see every inning of this game, every pitch of this game, it was an intense ball game.
The Colonels in desperate need of a win on Sunday. They made their change in the rotation. Midweek starter Mike Sook gets the first Southland start of his career. He had 4 prior starts this year, generally positive results. Fireballer had to come through here, and it didn't take him long. He gets a pair of strikeouts in the first. Casey Kalinkoski going down looking. Now the Colonel offense having to contend here with hard-throwing righty Kyle Finnegan. This kid, just a sophomore, but he's dangerous. He gets the jump, too. First man he faces is Phil Lyons. Got him swinging. Finnegan fanned 2 in the first as well. Top 2, Colby Targan with a leadoff hit and a stolen base, and then Andrew Stump pokes one just inside of first and down the line. Targan scores. Stump, though, thrown out at second on a terrific decoy here by Austin Flores. Stump never even knew the ball was coming in. Both teams took some chances on the bases here. Still in the second, Brooks Orton in scoring position. Nick Smelzer records a soft hit. Lyons able to keep it in the infield, and Orton aggressively rounds third, trying to score, and absolutely no chance. It remains a 1-run game. Bottom of the second, a Blake Bergeron bunt hit, followed by an error and a sac bunt, gives Cody Dufran the RBI opportunity. The dying quail to right center falls in between 3 Bobcats. Bergeron scores a tying run. Dufran had 2 hits in the game. Matt Richard singled, and Dufran is second before Lyons delivers a base hit to left. Dufran coming home. Unfortunately, he's toast. It's 1-1 after 2. We're still tied in the 4th. Texas State with a runner on third and 2 outs. And how about this? The screamer from Orton knocks the glove right off of Sook's hands, but he recovers. Orton called out on a bang-bang play. It saves a run, and Sook is pumped. Bottom 4, 2 men in scoring position for Lyons. The bouncer to third skips over the glove of Smeltzer. Dufran scores here, and Nicholls is up 2-1. Texas State with 5 errors on the day. 2 of those were charged to Smeltzer. The Bobcats with plenty of base runners on Sunday. 8 hits in the first 6 innings, but Sook got outs when he needed them. He got Orton to chase the high heater in the 6th. Texas State left Stump on second. Sook had 5 strikeouts. Nicholls loaded the bases with 1 out in the 6th. Ty Harrington goes to his bullpen. Hunter Lemke comes on. Big spot for Austin Flores. A bases-loaded bunt. Lemke winds up throwing it away. David Zorn scores. So does Richard. Nicholls leads it by a score of 4-1. Now the Colonels have to hold that lead. Sook is solid, and he gets some help here. Morgan Micken batting in the 7th. Richard, 1 day after that brutal collision, goes all out. Nicely done. The Colonels, to that point, had played superb defense on Sunday. Into the 8th, Garrett Matledge on second with 1 out, and just out of the reach of Phil Lyons on the Kalinkoski line drive. It skimmed off his glove. Phil knew he should have made the play. Matledge scores. The Colonel lead is down to 2 runs. Texas State trying to close the gap with 2 gone. Orton slaps one to left. Kalinkoski gets the green light. David Zorn to Blake Bergeron to Cody Dufran, and Kalinkoski is cut down. Sook goes 8 innings. He allows 2 runs on 12 hits. He only walked 1 batter. Nicholls gets a run back in the bottom of the 8th with Lewis Head on the mound. Flores coming through with a sac fly. Lyons racing home here. It's a close play, but Stump can't hang on. It's 5-2 Nicholls. Flores drove in a pair. And that would be plenty for closer Jordan McCoy. He surrenders a 2-out walk, but that was it. Matledge flies out to Richard to end it. Richard with a 3-hit day. Nicholls claiming the finale by a 5-2 margin, and the Colonels stay in the hunt for their 3rd consecutive Southland Conference tournament berth. Richard. You talk about a gutsy effort from him. 3 hits. He's flying in the outfield. Just an outstanding effort.
You can see after every hit or every play he made in the outfield the grimace on his body. The kid is incredible. He's a grinder. He's everything you want your player to be. And for him to do that for us, we took his mentality on Sunday, and we took Michael Sook's mentality. You saw the excitement Michael was pitching with and the intensity he was pitching with. We were a team that wasn't going to be denied on Sunday, and that's the mentality we have to play with down the stretch. And if we do, you're going to see this team get hot, and you're going to see us really compete and do something special going into the tournament.
Sook was not afraid. Listen, the Bobcats had 12 hits off him.
Right.
Didn't matter. He was coming right at you. And with the kind of stuff that he has, really, that's all he needs to do to be successful.
Exactly. He was relentless, and he was like a boxer. Every time he'd receive a blow, he would throw 2 more right back at you. And that's what I like my guys to play like. And it was good. We fed off of him the entire day. And you could tell from the pitch one that was our game to win. And I was very proud of our guys for playing that way.
Able to hold him down on Sunday. Both teams, like I said, took some chances on the base passes, the Colonels included in that. Did you feel a little bit extra pressure to be aggressive? Even on the Flores bunt, which came out of nowhere with the bases low, do you feel like it was time to kind of make things happen rather than wait?
It was time to open up the playbook, so to speak. We had to do some things. We can't sit around right now. It's not the time for us to sit back and see what happens. And you know, it's May baseball. It's time to go. And so our guys knew that, and they fed off of that. And certainly it happened. The good things happened for us. We had some good baseball fortune for the first time in a long time.
The Colonels right now, 3 weekends to go. That means 9 conference games. You're 2 games out of a tournament berth, but you got 3 teams standing in the way. Stephen F. Austin, Texas A&M Corpus Christi, and Lamar. So you got a little bit of a hill to climb here, but plenty of time to do it. The good news is the schedule's in your favor. You've got the 7th place team in Northwestern State on the docket. You've got the 12th place team in UTSA this weekend, and you've got an 8th place squad in Stephen F. Austin. You've already gotten the tough teams out of the way. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but the schedule is in your favor now.
Sure it is, and the league is never easy, but I feel like that you know, maybe this is our time to shine a little bit, and we try to look at our opponents as faceless opponents down the stretch, and certainly just control what we can control, and let's do the things we can do. We can't control what our opponents do right now, but we certainly can control what Nicholls does, and our job is to win series from here on out and win as many games as we can and be the best team we can be at this time of the year.
All right, Coach, we're going to come back with more in a moment. Colonel Baseball, very much a family affair on deck here on the Seth Thibodeaux Show, presented by State Farm Insurance. We will bring you that story. Stay with us.
There goes Dwayne's car. There goes Dwayne's house. And there goes Dwayne.
Man, that thing does not like Dwayne.
State Farm's got you covered.
In Thibodeaux, call Jude Guidry. And in Homa, call Darryl Brew.
Get to a better state.
More than any other American pastime, baseball spans the generations. The Nicholls baseball program has produced its own proud pedigree, connecting Colonels past and present. Down the line of baseball, the Faulk family has built a passion for the sport. Senior Beau Faulk follows in his uncle's footsteps as a second-generation Colonel. A non-local player from Houston, Beau's biggest support comes from his Uncle Marshall, one of 3 of Faulk's uncles who played at Nicholls.
Well, my uncle has helped out tremendously since I've been playing over here. He still lives in Homa, and especially when I was younger, they would help me with laundry and meals and stuff like that, and I still go over there and eat with them pretty regularly. And it's just really, it's good to have that support system so close when I'm a good 5-6 hours away from home.
Marshall Faulk recalls a time when Beau first started out playing baseball.
When he was a young kid, he and I would, he along with his father, Mark Faulk, would go outside and pitch the ball, and I could see very early on that Beau had a lot of talent coming with regard to baseball. He could throw the ball good, and over the years, you know, he has played in every baseball program, summer league that he could play in, and quite frankly, he has excelled in those programs.
While overseeing Beau's progress over the years, Marshall noticed some program changes from his playing years.
Back in the days when we played, we did not have aluminum bats as they use now. We didn't have near the type of program that the kids go through nowadays as far as training, year-round training that they do. And I don't think we played near a grueling schedule that the kids play currently.
Nicholls baseball has undergone radical changes even since Eddie Lyons roamed Didier Field in the 1980s. Now he enjoys watching his son, sophomore Philip Lyons, don the red and gray. The best part for Eddie is that Philip naturally gravitated toward the game.
He didn't really influence me. He just wants me to be happy and in whatever I do. But I just remember around 5 years old, I remember us in the front yard playing catch and ground ball. So, I mean, it started a long time from then.
Philip's motivation for baseball would encourage his father to pursue deeper into the sport.
I would have to say that was really, really young. Again, he was 2, and he would sit there and he'd just have a bat and a ball every day when I came home from work. And of course, all my friends used to get on me saying, oh, you're pushing him, you're pushing him. I'm like, no, you guys have it backwards. He's the one pushing me. Every day it was play ball, play ball, play ball. And he was always so competitive, even playing catch out in the yard. He would pitch and I was catching, and it was really hilarious because if I called what he perceived to be a strike, a ball, he would have just a temper tantrum right there in the yard and argue with me, no, that's a strike. And you know, he was really young age when he did that, and that competitive just kept on and stayed with him throughout his whole career, which has really helped him. He's just been a competitive person his whole life.
As Philip followed his father's path into baseball, making time to strengthen their bond on a hectic schedule was momentous.
I attend all the games, absolutely. Road trips are fun. I mean, I enjoy it because that's actually some of the time that I get to spend with him in quality time, because he's so busy with his studies and with games during the week here. When they're on the road, well, they usually have one night off during the weekend, and I can take him out to dinner and just he and maybe a teammate, and that's where we actually spend our quality times, is on road trips.
For freshman Chase Garrett, growing up under the coaching methods of his father was tough, but his dad's influences kept him in the game.
He's coached me ever since I was little. When I started in T-ball, he was my coach, and then when I got to high school, he ended up coaching there. So he's been there with me every step of the way. Being my coach and everything, he used to see everything I do, and now that he can't, he still follows up and checks on me and makes sure that he's there for me.
Richey Garrett has noticed the changes to the program, including one in which his team could bond.
When we played, we had chain link fences, and none of this that we're looking at right now was here. It was the lights, the scoreboard. It's changed a lot since we've been here. And the team, as a baseball team, we lived in one floor of the dorm, and everybody shared the whole floor, and the team was more or less together. Now I think they're separated a little more.
Richey is seen as more than a father figure to his son, as Chase can come to him for advice.
First off, he's my dad. Second off, he's my best friend. Third, he's another coach for me. Anytime something's wrong, I can go to him. Anytime something's wrong with baseball, I can go to him. And the good thing about our relationship is it's not just baseball. We have a deeper relationship than that, and it helps a lot.
You have a shared common goal, and if two people love the same thing, it's going to draw them closer together.
For these past and present Colonels, their devotion to the game continues to produce family talent from one generation to the next. For the Seth Thibodeaux Show, I'm Ashley Bull.
Thank you very much, Ashley. Coach, it's just great to see multiple generations of Colonels and able to bond through the game of baseball the way they've done.
It's special, and it's motivating for me, and hopefully we can keep these things going and continue the Colonel tradition.
Colonels coming up this weekend at Texas San Antonio. Next weekend we got Northwestern State. Friday night is our pink game. That's a 6:30 start time next Friday. Benefiting breast cancer, we're going to auction off the pink jerseys that the Colonels would wear. It's always a big night for the program.
Huge night, and we partner up with Thibodeaux Regional there, and it's a special night, and our players really enjoy it.
Well, right now we are going to take you around Nicholls Athletics on the Colonel Connection. Philip Boudreau has his story as he takes us around the department. Phil?
The Nicholls men's tennis team made program history while golf wrapped up this year's campaign at the conference championship, and fellow Colonel student athletes saw their hard work rewarded. That's all coming up on this week's Colonel Connection. The Nicholls men's tennis team claimed the #2 seed at the Southland Conference tournament held in Nacogdoches, Texas last weekend. In the semifinal round on Friday, the Colonels faced 4th-seeded Texas Arlington. Although the men struggled during doubles play against the Mavericks, Nicholls bounced back in the singles matches to win a 4-1 decision. With that victory, the Colonels advanced to their first Southland Championship match in program history. Nicholls took on Texas San Antonio in the final round on Saturday. The men battled valiantly against the Roadrunners, but were unable to clinch the championship title, falling 4-2. Head coach Meenakshi Sundaram believes the Colonels will come back swinging next year now that his team has tasted postseason action.
What I couldn't tell my players, there's no way of explaining to a kid who's never been there before what the experience is like. Now it's going to be very easy when we go back next year because they know, when I tell them that you need to step it up a little bit, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
The Nicholls golf team competed in the Southland Conference Championship in McKinney, Texas last Monday through Wednesday. The Colonels sat in 9th place after all 3 rounds. Florento Haran led the team with 4 birdies in round 1. Whirlin Prosperi was the highlight of round 2 with an eagle on a par 5. Christian Einerson's performance culminated in a 15th place finish overall, the highest of any Colonel. Head coach James Schilling wants to create a more aggressive in-house rivalry to improve the squad for next season.
What we need to do next year, we have several new players coming in. Okay, so what you want to do is create a competitive environment within your team, with me working with the players. But when you have that competitive environment within the team, and then get your players ready for whenever you actually leave in the top 5 travel. So if it's competitive to just travel, typically whenever you get to the tournaments, they're ready to go and they're sharp.
The Nicholls Athletics Department held its 13th annual Athletics Awards banquet at Envie Restaurant in Thibodeaux on Tuesday night. Over 200 student athletes received honors with special team and department-wide awards going to deserving student athletes. Junior tennis player Parija Maloo emerged as the Female Student Athlete of the Year, and she attributes her success on the court and in the classroom to her head coach.
It was really a big surprise for me for both the awards, and I really want to thank my coach and our assistant coach because these awards wouldn't have been possible without them. My coach Meenakshi, he pushes me for tennis and my academics. Whatever awards I got today is all because of him.
For the Seth Thibodeaux Show, I'm Philip Boudreau with your Colonel Connection.
Thank you very much, Ashley. That's going to do it for our show today. Coach, thanks so much.
Thanks, Mike.
Best of luck this weekend. For Philip Boudreau, Ashley Bull, and head coach Seth Thibodeaux, I'm Mike Wagenheim. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Seth Thibodeaux, presented by State Farm Insurance. We'll talk to you next week.
The Seth Thibodeaux Show has been brought to you by State Farm Insurance. Contact your local State Farm agent today and get to a better state with State Farm Insurance. This has been a presentation of the Colonel Sports Network.